right, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. I think this is episode 11 of the Grit and Gratitude podcast. And as you can see, we got a couple guests on this week. We have John from Hörman. He's the regional sales rep for the manufacturer we sell. We got Mitch. He is our sales rep that works directly with us from Hörman as well. And we're going to talk a little bit about today kind of building that relationship between, a manufacturer and an installing dealer or wholesaler, and how important it is to make sure that, we're building a good relationship and not just having transactions in what we do, since we're living in a time where everybody's money motivated and it's a transaction and not a relationship, and the pros and cons of building a long-term relationship. So I think we all can relate to that a little bit, and we've all worked enough together that we kind of know where we want to go, what we want to do, and how we want to do it. And let's just tell people and explain to them how important that is, even at a small to medium scale, and the longevity of it, and why it's important to not just treat it like a one-time transaction.
Yeah. Here at Hörman, what we try to do is we try to find good quality individuals that just happen to have garage door businesses. We're looking for partnerships, long-term, short-term. Relationships do not work. The shorter the term the relationship, the more they're hopping around. People have been in this industry for a long time. We've seen this during COVID with the installer that would leave you for $2. So we want to build a relationship, slow, steady growth with reputable companies, and then from there, help you grow your business. Do what we can to support you moving forward. We do that in many ways, just like the personal touch, like with Mitch. Mitch comes down. Mitch is out of our Minneapolis location, but he comes down here hopefully once a quarter to take care of y'all.
Try to get down here once a quarter.
Yeah.
Hang out with them.
How do you feel about that, Mitch?
Yeah, so our goal is to help you guys grow. So, when another company interested in purchasing Hörman operators in this area, then you can send it to Mitch, and Mitch will relay it to you until you get your outside team built.
Yep.
And slow, steady growth. So use our team as your team until we get there. But do a quick introduction. I work for Hörman. I came back to them about a year and a half ago. Before I got into this side of the business, I owned a garage door company. So I know what you guys are going through. So I know what it's like to have Mrs. Johnson call you up at 4 o'clock when everyone's leaving saying, my door won't shut. I get that. I understand that. And I know what it takes as a business owner to have a good relationship with your end user, the homeowners, because they're the ones that are pumping you up. They're your 5-star reviews. So even when it's not your fault, sometimes you have to go out there. Those safety eyes got kicked. You got to go out there because we need those. You need those relationships with them, and then you also need the relationship with us. If there is a problem, we want to be there to fix it as soon as possible. We don't want the blame game. We're not going to go out and. This is where the relationships come in. We have to have good, honest relationships with good, honest people. Because when you tell me something's wrong, I got to believe that something's wrong.
Right.
We
can't be the boy who cried wolf.
That's right. Right.
We've all seen it, all of us, in, damages and things like that where, oh man, we got these damages all the time. Well, how do we work through that? How do we get better? How do we, when we're loading trucks, unloading trucks, or quality control issues at the manufacturer, where we see all too often, and I want to circle around a little bit on, you hit the whole COVID thing where, our industry is known for leaving for $2.
That's right.
And that's the stigma, and that is tried and true, and it's horrible because the manufacturers that have been around for a long time, that are stateside, where I think Hörman's fairly new, for the most part in their infancy of, the Americas, but they're massive in Europe, huge, Germany, great company. They're coming to a market here where this is what they're used to. They're used to every door guy being like, oh, well, I can go get that for $2 cheaper. Well, that's funny. You can go get it for $2 cheaper, but when shit slides downhill, and then you come back to us, we're not doing that. Where it's always been, these manufacturers, still to this day, we know all too well, that's how they want that. They're used to it, and that's what they are training their sales on. Hey, you know what, if he's a decent, sized guy, just trying to keep him happy, but if he comes in squabbling, whatever, tell him to go to another manufacturer. Instead of trying to build that relationship and a network with them, they're too quick to just go, boop, and kick them away, instead of working through things together, where we're working through things together. And we've had manufacturers that we've sold multiple, and we've had these conversations too, where we want to build a long-term network and relationship with you, because if we sell your doors and you sell us doors, we all make money, we all do great products, you name it, but everybody gets so stuck in the old ways. And I feel like that's kind of where we're at.
Well, and you guys are the eyes and the ears out there, right? So when the truckload comes to you and it's damaged, how can we take that information and get better? So we need to figure out what's wrong and how to get an action plan together so we can fix things. For instance, we're going to start strutting all our window sections moving forward. Every window section coming out of Sparta, Tennessee is going to be strutted moving forward. A little bit about Hörman too, since we just kind of jumped right in.
Yeah, I think you need to hit on that, because there's a lot with Hörman that most, even door guys, they have no clue.
Yes.
I've never heard of it.
Well, I was in Minneapolis for 8 years, never heard of Hörman until he reached out asking if I wanted to work for him.
So John, just give everybody a short or synopsis of who Horman is, how Horman became to where they are, and how they got here.
Well, Hörman is a family-owned business. They're going into their fourth generation now. So they own 60% of the European market. Here in the United States, a lot of folks don't know about them. They opened a brand new plant. Well, let's circle back. They bought the Gadco plant.
The old Gadco plant.
The old Gadco plant up in Chicagoland. And up in that plant, we make the pinch-resistant European-style door. Everything's heavy-duty. It's strong. It's got a great U factor now, with the changing from the R factor to the U factor. It's going to make a big impact on folks that are interested in heat transfer. The R factors, they can get really,
especially in the commercial market, because that's what they want. They want that U factor, and there's going to be minimums and maximum requirements, and there's going to be a lot of manufacturers that we all know that they're not going to make the cut now, because they're not going to make the cut because their U value sucks, and that's going to get outed, and now it's going to be tested, and it's got to make sure that you have it all tested through DASMA and everything else. And we're going to see where it's going to be like, yeah, remember you thought that door had really good air filtration, and no, it doesn't. And we're going to see that, and people don't understand it yet because it hasn't quite started hitting, but it's going to.
And that's where our Montgomery plant's going to really take us to the next level. So what happened though with that product, that European style product, it's 14 to 18% more steel depending on the door, plus all heavy duty hardware. So it priced itself kind of out of the market. You had to have, a typical dealer that's not afraid of price, that gives the end user the options of what they would like in their house.
Yeah, they're good, better, best.
Good, better, best. Pinch resistant. We're trying to do a lot of things with the rolling aluminum, glass, steel doors. Pinch resistant. Anything in a public place we feel should be spec'd pinch resistant. But that product was slow moving. So the Hörmans came in and built a new manufacturing plant in Sparta, Tennessee. 75 acres. Right now it's roughly 300,000 square feet, but it's designed to triple in size. We're bringing in new equipment, new processes. We have the longest continuous polyurethane line in the United States, North America for all I know. So that opened in 2020, but 2020 is when COVID was out there just doing COVID things, right? So it really hadn't got its foothold. I came over December of last year, out from the West Coast to the East Coast to bring some of the principles, awareness, because Hörman was, if you knew, you knew. We can't be that company. We got to be up there with everybody else, So when I reached out to Mitch, we couldn't find a salesman in Minneapolis. We literally had to hire a headhunter.
Yeah.
So a headhunter had to go find Mitch, reached out to Mitch, and then we had to get the conversation and show him what it was. Brought him out to Sparta, like we brought you guys out to Sparta, so you guys, Sparta, Tennessee, so you guys can see how the Germans operate, and you can see where we're going. So we really didn't start going until 2022, maybe 2023. So we're still working through some of the processes, tightening up some of our stuff, but it's getting, I'm telling you, month by month, it's getting better and better and better and better and better. And pretty soon it's going to pop. And we're glad that we're able to get a company of your caliber on us, because when it pops, we're going to be here to support you 100% of the time.
Yeah, and it's getting the awareness out there because of the manufacturer and manufacturers, because in our industry, people that listen that aren't in the door business, that might just be construction workers or even end users, no one's heard of Hörman. And if they have, it's very few, far in between, especially here in the Midwest, going all the way west. And you know as well as I do, door guys, if I never heard of them, it's crap. Well, here's the problem that we're running into more and more. We're trying to change that as Superior Door, and what we're doing is making that aware and showing. We're going to show people products. We want to explain to you the differences between, Midlands and the Amars and the Clopes and the Hörmans, and not to bash product, but to show people the differences, and you pick what you feel best fits your market. But in our market, we know what we want to sell. We know what works here, and there's going to be good things about one manufacturer that they can provide, and there's going to be others that they can't, and that's just part of it. Where these door guys and door companies, they just close the door on opportunity, and they don't even give it a shot because they're like, I never heard of it, I don't care. Well, why don't you give it a shot? And we've run into it too, but with people where they're like, who's that? And we're like, well, we can explain it to you, but if you do a little research, you can go and see that if you were to look on the scale, not nationally, but worldwide, go look who Horman is, or Hörman. Go look who they are, because that is what you're going to get a better glimpse of who they are. And by the way, they have 3 big facilities. Their newest facility in Sparta, I've been to a lot of different manufacturers. It doesn't hold a candle. There's nobody. They do not have the technology like you guys have. They definitely don't have any of the processes that you guys have to streamline the way that your lines run. And I'm not just saying that because we sell your product. I'm genuine about it. These door guys don't understand that, like you said, when this pops and people start buying the product, start seeing how quality it is, but also that you guys stand behind it and that you guys are gearing up and you have all of the backing in the world to really, really come here and make a splash. Where, we know CHI has been around for how long? We know the Amars of the world and the Clopes, but here's the thing. There's a difference between them and Hörman. Hörman is not a publicly traded owned company.
Family owned.
Hörman is a family owned, if I'm staying corrected, 4th generation company that is a multi-billion-dollar business that makes these other manufacturers in the United States look really small compared to what they do worldwide. And it's just going to take time to really kind of get the roots and start planting those seeds and waiting for them to grow. But when they start growing, it's going to be like a bamboo tree. And whoever's on board with that product and that material is going to be ahead. And if they're not, I know there's going to be room for everybody. I mean, that's just the door business. Right. But people are really going to understand that they're coming, and they're going to come hard. And guess what? No one's going to come in and be like, hey, we'll buy you guys out. No, it's going to be, hey,
not for sale.
We're going to buy you out.
Not for sale.
Just like, with the Gadco plant, Northwest Door, things like that.
KNR,
Flex on, heavy hitters where, the whole thing is everybody, right now, everybody's wanting to be bought and sell. And Hörman is not in its infancy as a business. It is here. And people are really, really, I think, and I'm not in the corporate level, but I've been doing this long enough, they're sleeping on it. And they're going to get caught with their pants down when they come up and start taking gobs and gobs of business, because you guys are investing in your wholesalers and installing dealers in a way that others aren't. And they can say they are, but they're not. We know from firsthand, us 3, that we know how it works. I've worked with multiple, been told this and told that, but when the shit starts to get tough and you got to work together, it's typically you're on your own. Yeah, whoa, we're on our own. So when you have a manufacturer like you guys that are not corporately, you're a corporate company, but you're not publicly traded, you're not owned by an investment company, you're a family-owned business, you can't mess with that. And whoever gets on board with that is they're really gonna benefit from it, as long as they have similar core values of Hörman, because that was one thing that you explained to Nick, and Kendrick when we were down there. You guys really genuinely, everybody that works there wants to align with the right people. Right. They don't want some shit bag putting their product in and slapping it in, or not aligning with their values.
Yeah, because then it all comes back to Hörman. It's a crappy door. Is it a crappy door, or did you install it wrong? I used to install doors, so I can go take a...
And we can all say one, ready? Overhead door. I'm not saying that overhead door builds a crappy door. Do they have crappy doors? Yeah, but that's what they're known for. Overhead door company and that manufacturer is known for not having quality products, not because they don't have quality product, because the products that the installing dealers were putting in, or that they were allowing installing dealers to put in under their name, that maybe didn't have the proper training, their guys didn't know what they were doing, gives it a bad name. And so, that's something I think Hörman, it sounds like you're really on top of making sure that, not being, I don't want to say that you're selective, but you're trying to be mindful of who is going to put our product in and who's going to sell it. Because if you just start handing out Hörman accounts to every door company, then we're going right down the same path of every manufacturer in the United States has done for how many decades, and look how it's ended for all.
Yeah, and this is kind of accounting to our slow and steady growth, especially on the East. On the West, they're established. They're very established. They've been there for 76 years.
Yeah, so they're just locked in solid there.
It's like going back to COVID. COVID taught us a lot of things too at Hörman. We brought more stuff inside. We make our own sections. We make our own track. We make our own springs. We make our own styles. We make our own end caps. We're bringing everything that we possibly can. We've got our paint booths in there. Whatever we need to do internally, so we don't get caught, because we can't control what happens globally.
Well, economically you can't.
So that's when we're talking about COVID, and I see some of these dealers we're talking about, they just get so loyal. So I'm only going to put in ABC manufacturer because that's all they've ever done. They close that mind off, and then ABC's now got 38-week lead times. Now you got to hop around. Now you're learning a new product. You should have an open mind in this industry, folks. You guys should have an open mind and be willing to try new products, because you don't know what you're going to see out in the wild.
Right.
You go to a garage and there's a Hörman door from Van Orr, Tennessee.
Yeah.
What are you going to do with that?
Yeah.
What are you going to do with them pin trees? You don't know what you're going to do. You're going to tell
You're going to tell. I've never even seen this. I don't even know what to do. Oh, got to put a new one in.
That's right.
Because they're not looking, and they're not educating, or they're not being educated, and they're not being open-minded. We see it here every day.
And the end user's getting smarter. They pick up their cell phone, which is a computer. They Google and they say, "Oh, they're still in business. They've got 5 manufacturing plants in North America.
They don't make that door no more."
Google's a powerful tool.
Yeah.
But people, they genuinely, there are companies and people that, they don't make that door. How many times have we heard it? Yeah, they don't make that door. What do you mean? Yeah, I was told we can get one of those. We'll have it in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
How? Because they make it.
They still make that door.
They still make the door. It doesn't matter. There's, you keep an open mind, and then, your opportunities are endless. You just can't be closed-minded to trying new products. Just like we tried your guys' opener. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles and all this, but it is a great opener. And fun fact, there's not a garage door operator in the entire United States that has a lifetime warranty except for the Hörman operator. There's none. There's not one opener. It doesn't matter, Lanier, LiftMaster, Moneris, Marantec, you name it, Genie, not one. But Hörman, yep, it's the basic of the opener. It's a great unit. It's a lifetime warranty. And you're not talking just the belt. You're not talking just the motor, the whole unit. And I don't know how many times we've had this conversation. Once it gets Wi-Fi, it's game on. But
That's right.
I'm sure you hear it more than anybody. You'd be like, I'm not trying that opener. I don't want to put that thing. Okay, let me explain. Any of you door guys that'll ever listen to this or listen to it, you're sleeping on it, because you're not going to find another opener that will ever offer that kind of a warranty and be this good of an opener, because it's a very great unit. And people aren't open-minded to it, just like us selling. We sell anywhere from LiftMaster, Lanier, Skylink, you name it. We're going to put it all in. They all have pros and cons. They all have their goods and their bads. But everybody in our industry just goes, I only put LiftMaster in. I only put CHI in. Why?
Right.
You know? Because then they're not open to, you have a product, Hörman has a product where never heard of them, junk. Have you put one in?
Right.
No. Have you put one of their doors in? Yeah, I seen that pinch resistant piece of crap. Oh wait, time out. It's not pinch resistant. They do have that, but did you know they have a 300,000 square foot facility in Sparta, Tennessee that does all tongue and groove? No, you didn't. So now you just closed the door and an opportunity for an even better product than you're putting in that who knows what you're putting in. You know, people are just so close-minded to it.
Yeah. Well, speaking about the motor, I tried to get you guys to look at that motor from the day I seen you. So, Mitch, good job, Mitch.
Well, like he said,
Yeah.
it works
How
out
do you feel about
perfect
that,
for the
Mitch?
apartment complexes.
Yeah,
All the
Just-
multi-family.
you can't go wrong. But I mean, as soon as it gets Wi-Fi, the only opener I'm putting in is going to be the Hörman opener on a residential side of things, because not just the warranty, but it is a really good unit. I mean, you can't beat it. But you know, people need to be open-minded to it and quit being, oh, well, it's just Genie and LiftMaster, because that's all we hear, Genie, LiftMaster. Yes, do we know they build decent openers, good units? Yes, but there are other units that are comparable or better that are a better fit for your market. And it depends on your market. You know, you get to these bigger populations, 3, 4, 5 million, it's going to be predominantly LiftMaster and Genie. That's just what it is. Lipstick on a pig. It's cute. It's fancy looking. It's got all the bells and whistles, but here's the warranty. And then a year later, people are pissed.
I had a guy tell me one time, he said, I've never had anybody go into my garage and say, look at this sexy opener.
You know, that's a good one. You have not. No one goes in there and goes, that's a good looking opener. I mean, a door guy would.
Yeah.
Like me, I'm like, that thing's ugly, or I'm not putting that in, or, you know. Yeah, no one's ever, the end user home builder, they're not going, man, that's sexy looking. No, they just want a quality product that does what it's supposed to do. It's quiet, it's reliable, they stand behind it. You know, just like doors. I mean, we've seen everybody's switched up since COVID with warranties when it comes to our doors. You know, the days of the lifetime warranty doors and torsion springs from the manufacturers are over. You know, unless you're going to pay a premium for $1,000 upgrade, and you know, that kind of is out the window. But the operators that's the biggest thorn in the door business side. They're the necessary evil for us.
They are the ones that are moving the fast in innovation for sure. They're definitely pushing the envelope when it comes to technology.
Right.
You know, so.
But they're pushing the envelope too of their overpricing things to where, you know, you can go buy a Samsung fridge for the price of a garage door opener in some markets. You know, and it's getting crazier and crazier, because at the end of the day, yeah, they're pushing technology, but they're not pushing the quality of the product. The quality of the product's dropping. Technology's built into it. That doesn't mean anything.
That's one of the good things about the Hörman operator. It's been tried and true for decades.
Yeah, how long is that opener? I mean, forever.
These operators for openers for decades. Yeah. I mean, they manufacture them in Germany. We bring them over from Germany. They're German
engineered, German
and
built,
yep.
and brought over here, you know. And that's if people gave, you know, things like that more of a shot, they'd be surprised at the return and the headaches that they wouldn't have.
Just the attention to detail that they put into things. It's a little bit more intense over there. It can be a bit much sometimes.
Especially for over here. I mean, because we're, you know, like hinges, when we talk about like the pinch resistant door, you're not going to get a better U-value door than that. That's just a fact. But you get these door guys.
Yeah, once it's two pieces, they're done.
Man, I got to put more than 2 pieces. I got 3 pieces to put a hinge on. Man, but not understanding, you know, like we're in Europe and
not understanding that hinge, you don't need a double hinge style hinge on that hinge.
Right. Yeah.
You know.
But they look at it as, well, I can't install it fast enough, because it's different over. It's, you know, where obviously price is always, everybody's price conscious, and it's, well, you could sit here and we get it all the time, and you guys probably get it too. What makes your door different and better? Well, if I really broke it out to you, we're going to be here for a couple hours.
I can.
And then I'm going to do that for you. And then when I give you a price on it, you're going to say, I don't want it. It's too expensive anyways. Well, you wanted to know why my door's better, why my product's better. I'm giving it. Here it is right here, and this is actual. This is real life right here. If you were to compare these apples to apples with this manufacturer and this door and I'm giving it to you, but you don't like it. So insert why you guys had to make a tongue and groove.
The traditional American style door is what they call it. So something that we can have the price conscious, pan door market is available to us. It's there too now. So we have a builder grade, and we picked up some builders along the way. So you have to. You got to play in both arenas when we're.
Yeah, that's probably that's probably hard on the manufacturing side, is to play in both those arenas, because you start crunching numbers and you're looking at manufacturing costs versus revenue and profit on those, and you're like, man, why don't we just double down on that? Well, you can't, because if you don't play in both arenas, then they make you irrelevant.
Yeah, so we got 52 different doors to choose from at Hörman. So we don't just have that door. Yeah. That sometimes, it's just like selling operators. Sometimes you got to get your foot in the door with what you get your foot in the door with, and then it's up to myself, it's up to Mitch and our whole sales team to educate you guys on our product line. If all you sold from us was pan doors, boy, we'd be in trouble.
Well, yeah, you're not going to make any money.
We'd be in trouble.
Be like doing Nuco forever.
But we want to let you guys know of the higher quality stuff that's out there too. And I found, being on the other side of the table with Mrs. Johnson, sitting at her kitchen table, trying to sell them garage, I just give them options. Mm-hmm. Give them options. Are you looking for a specific look, or a specific style, a specific budget? All that's a starting point. Yep. So you want something sleek, you want a glass door, you want a flush steel door, you want windows down the side. What is it that you want? Because I can put you in whatever you need.
In whatever you need. We can try to get you whatever you want, the look and aesthetics, but where we're going to get into the dollar amount, it's going to be the quality of door you want.
I've also found out that when you go in there with that prejudging mindset, you're always going to leave. You're always going to leave. That's kind
of how we got started, though. You were looking for high speed, and
well, yeah, I called. I literally called because we got our Horman dealership in pre-COVID when Cole was here, and I think we bought, I think I got like 2 jobs from him, and then COVID hit, so there was nothing going on with anybody, and there was no sales rep, and they wouldn't even give us prices on doors at the time because there was no rep. And then we got a rep. What was his name before you, the older gentleman?
It was before
Jim.
Me as well.
Jim. Was it? It was. Oh, you're right. It was Jim. So that's why I called Jim. So I called to Jim, but I meant to call Jim from TNR for high speed. And Mitch answers, and he's like, oh yeah, Jim don't work anymore. I'm like, Jim, whoa, time out. Is it Jim TNR? And he's like, no, this is Hörman. And I'm like, well, matter of fact, while I got you on the phone, are you guys selling doors yet? Because through all of COVID, literally they were not selling doors. You couldn't buy doors.
We heard that,
and that was literally what we were told. And so that's how we got the conversation started. Was literally I was just calling to talk to Jim, and then I'm like, oh well, by the way, you guys got your Sparta up? Because that was literally they were like, we're building Sparta, we're blah blah blah, and then COVID hit, and it was like, oh crap. And at that time, we were predominantly Midland AMAR, kind of 50-50, but then COVID, and then when lead time started getting pushed, we did like every other door company.
That's right.
We had to go
survive.
We had to survive, and we did our best to be fair and buy from each one, but we had to rely on a manufacturer that could provide doors in a timely manner, and it just so happened to be one or the other. And prime example though, love them to death, but they did exactly what you said. They opened the floodgates. Everybody was buying. They were giving accounts to everybody because everybody's lead times were so long. They were like, come to us. Yeah. Our lead times are 3 to 4 weeks. And I called it, and I'm sure I wasn't the only one. We're like, their lead times are going to shoot up. When everybody's goes down, theirs are going to go up. And it did exactly, because they took on all that extra work. And then what happened? Oh, your lead times went up? All right, I'm going back to them. Sorry, see ya. Yep. And that is the never-ending game where, like, for us, we didn't play it that way. It was, hey, we need this from you and this from you. We just need to get doors. Can we, finagle it where, like you said, everybody wants to leave for $1. We were paying some premium numbers from both manufacturers because we wanted to feed them both, where we were just trying to keep that relationship with them, and COVID showed the true colors of our industry from a manufacturing side in a big way, and not just garage doors, everywhere. Yeah. Really shows you what and who you are and what you mean to a company, because when they think that they can get better, because in the moment that short-term gain creates a long-term pain, and they find out real quick, and they have, and not just from us, but from other door guys we've talked to and throughout the nation. And it's like we were talking out in the shop, if you just build these relationships, build relationships with people and try to trust and invest in the right guys and gals, and know that their intent is aligned with yours, and you're going to take bumps on the head. We talk about this all the time. Bumps on the head when growing pains. No one's willing to do that anymore. That is a very, 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 and both ways on both of our sides. Because it's like, well, you don't do this, well, you don't do that. Next thing you know, well, you owe me this, and you screwed me on that. And now all we're doing, what are we doing? We're fighting. Just like we do with contractors. Hey, our hands are tied. Nick Kendrick can deal with it all the time. What do you want us to do? We're telling you the truth. You want to take the bumps on the head, we'll get through this and let's get the customer happy, or we can just have a pissing match.
Well, that's the thing with our sales team. We are not going to lie to you. You'll get the good and the bad, but you're going to get the information that you can do
to pass on and do with you.
Here's the information. If you need to source this door somewhere else because this one is having an issue, then that's what you do. But I want to circle back to the wrong phone number, the crank call.
Oh, dude, that was crazy. It was funny.
How long did it take you to get down here to?
A week.
Yeah.
So was it 5 days?
Yeah, it was probably
literally
2 weeks.
I talked to Nick and Kendrick, and I was like, dude, I freaking just talked to the Horman guy. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah. And I was like, he's gonna call me back. And I was like, he ain't fucking call me back. And he called me back, and he's like, well, I can come down in like a week. I'm like, well, come down then. And he was like, I'd say like a week and a half maybe.
It was pretty quick.
You were down here quick, and then we were sitting there, we were just talking about doors, and
I'd give you a 5-star review.
well, we
I
didn't.
was like, what the hell did I get myself into?
Yeah, but we really didn't even. We bought some doors, but we weren't doing anything. And then we're talking, and we sell a lot of different manufacturers, and we don't stick to one. We want to try to stick to an 80-20 or 80-10-10, whatever we can, just to kind of feed everybody. But with you guys, it was let's talk and see what we can do.
I know Mitch came down, and then he called me and said, you got to get down here. So then
you were down in what, probably, what do you think, a month?
A couple months maybe.
Yeah.
It might have been a month and a half.
So we come down, and then I found the best sushi place in all of Nebraska.
Oh yeah, I bet you did.
That was great.
Wrong answer.
Yeah.
Was it what was it?
And then we got you gentlemen down to Tennessee.
Tennessee, and got to see the plant. And that, I'll tell you, that speaks volumes, because I'm second generation. My dad, been doing this a long time, and to just that hospitality of, hey, you guys want to come down? I mean, it took years for other manufacturers to even, and we didn't even bring it up. It was, we had to ask. Yeah. Well, why wouldn't you want to educate us on your product and how it's made? Like we're talking about the video that we want to do, so that our customers can see. We want in our builders, we want you to see what it's like. We want you to see from start to finish why.
The whole process.
Because it's not as simple as just making that quick phone call. Look, here's what goes into it, and here's what we do, and here's how we do it, and this is why we're Superior Door, and why we put these products in, we put Hörman in, things like that, because of these processes. And the quality control, all these little things where no one's showing that stuff. And I think that if manufacturers did it more, and not just garage door businesses, they educated their installing dealers, wholesalers, things like that, they'd have customers for life, man. Right. And I get it. There's going to be customers that they can blow smoke up your ass and whatnot, but you find out real quick, in the short term, whether they're tried and true. And we know that from our side and whatnot, and that's just part of business. That's the cost of doing business. But you'll always have that 1 out of 5 or 1 out of 10 where you're like, oh shit, man, like we we got to figure this one out, because we do it too, you know, and we're young, we're in our infancy when it comes to wholesale selling like that, but the door business and service, we got that. I mean, we're constantly getting better at it, just like you guys are constantly working at what you do, and we're a young group of guys that are passionate about it, and that's hard to find in our industry.
Correct. I mean, finding somebody who, I like to say this all the time, somebody who cares. You know, sometimes they'll get wound up.
Podcast before.
Yeah, sometimes they'll get wound up, and they'll get too emotional, and you got to talk them off the ledge a little bit. But I'd rather have that than a guy who's phoning it in.
Yeah, or doesn't give a shit.
If you're just phoning it in, it's going to show.
Yeah.
It's going to show, and then we'll have to take.
Yeah, because there's different levels of I would say, like, give a fuck when it comes to, you know, being too emotional on what, you know. They're emotional because they feel like everything goes wrong and you're screwing them and F this. And then there's, hey, I just want you to be better so we can be better and we can all be better.
Here's how I think we can get
This
better.
is where I think,
Yeah.
like, you know, and I think that's probably, for me, and these guys hear it, and you probably hear it too, that's my most frustrating part about what we do, is I am so passionate about our industry and our business that when like anybody I've ever worked with manufacturing wise, they all say it. But usually what ends up happening is it falls on deaf ears on the higher end of things, because I'm young, I'm whatever, and it's like, no, you're missing the point. You want to deal with guys that scream and yell at you over what you do wrong, or do you want to deal with guys and gals that want to help make each other better? Yeah, I'm an intense dude, man, but that's because I care. If I didn't, I'd just go jump to another manufacturer. Right. You know, I just jump manufacturers all the time.
That's what we were talking about earlier. We need to find out what the problem is so we can put in corrective actions, so we can fix these problems. Yeah. So this is why we need partners, because you know, you need to let me know, you need to let Mitch know. You've met the plant, the plant manager,
people,
you met the
them.
COO, you met the president, you met we're all accessible.
Yeah.
We're all accessible at Hörman. Once you become one of our team members, you're a team member.
It's not just accessible, because I'm accessible to a lot of manufacturers, people on the higher end, but it's a job, and they look at it like it's just a job, where at Hörman it really was more of like a relationship. Like, hey, we want to build a partnership with you because we want to sell doors, and we want you to sell our doors, because we believe that not only is our door the best or right there with them, but our service and our experience is the best, or we're going to be the best, and we're going to constantly strive to be the best. That's something, Nick, that breeds into us, and, you know, says all the time. Superior Door and what we do, we're not just a service, we're an experience. Anybody can put a garage door in. I can get a guy to go to Home Depot and put a Clopay in, but to have that experience and that service with the actual service company,
professionalism,
end user, that's what we sell. I'm not going to sell you a door. I'm going to sell you an experience. The door, all the door is my foot in the door. Right. That's the problem that I get to solve for you. Outside of that, it's my job to make sure that we take care of you long term, not one time, not two times, but forever. You know, and so many people miss the boat in the service business because it's so damn easy to start a business. It really is. And not just garage doors. It does not matter. You could start a damn dog scooping shit business right
I just
now.
seen it happen with tornadoes and everything that
Yes,
came through.
it was something I taught Nick or was telling Nick and Kendrick. I'm like, just wait, and they're like, what? And I go, you're about to see. I didn't even throw a number at it, but you're about to see a bunch of businesses pop out of the woodwork. And I said, anybody that calls us, make sure that they have a contractor's number for the state of Nebraska, and they have a federal tax ID number, because they just pop up quick. Yeah. You got people that literally do gutters, and now they do everything. And
They're framing houses.
you know, and these are those things where, you know, quality control. We don't want to tie our name to that. We don't want to do business with those companies that we don't know that we. What'd you do? What you did? You did what? You did windows? Whoa, now I get it. You do windows and you're really good at windows, but now you're building houses? Time out. There's a little big difference between putting windows in and building a house, or there's a big difference between putting windows in and handling roof, cider, gutters, you name it. And we're not talking just vinyl, we're talking, and that's what we see. And it's that way in our industry too. It's just chucking a truck, and everybody's got to start somewhere, and I'm a huge advocate for that. But
the entry level to get into the garage door business is if you have a truck and a ladder and $5,000, you can get in. And a lot of these guys will start and finish as fast. They finish as fast as they start, because once the tax man comes around by year 2, they're upside down.
Yeah. Or they're in 5 years, and then they find someone that thinks that they're making a bunch of money, and they're like, hey, you want to buy my business? How much? I don't know, $15,000. That sounds like a great deal. Oh, it sounds like a great deal. Okay, $15,000 to buy a business that's been in business for 5 years, and that's what we like. I'm sure you guys see it. That is massive. Like it's probably that way. I don't think it's that way in HVAC and plumbing, because that's a different world. But when it comes to the door business, because like you said, to get into it, it's dirt. You could go buy a $2,500 truck that's got a rack on it that pisses oil and leaks everywhere. Guy looks like he just rolled off the bar, and he's got a ladder on his truck, missing half his teeth, but he can go to Home Depot and get a door. You can start. Yeah. And people will use them, because that's the stigma of our trade too.
Yeah, it's some of these companies aren't door companies; they're advertising companies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's what they are. So
there's a lot of them. There's a lot.
So you have to balance. You have to have a balance there, right? You have to have educated people going out there. I've seen guys with less than a week training go out on a truck and then try to diagnose a problem. Mm-hmm. The motor's bad, they're changing springs. Yeah. What are you doing, man? Mm-hmm. So, but it happens a lot, or guys pull up in front of somebody's house in a minivan.
How many times have we seen that?
I was going to tell you, you don't even need a truck. You just need a minivan.
Yeah, I mean, how many of those have we seen?
I've seen a lot.
With punched iron racks on top of them.
Oh, I've got one.
And they're literally putting
a shaft to the mirror, and then they popped out the back window, and they had it roped that way when they were driving.
Yeah, and you got these people working, and I'm not going to sit here and knock everybody, but these people are working in your home. They're in your home, and I'm not trying to discredit, certain people. You got to start somewhere, but unfortunately, typically, the majority of the time, they're not trustworthy. They're out to shaft you and make a buck so that they can get their beer and pizza and go home.
Well, the nice thing again is Google. People are getting more educated. Our end users are being more cautious. We've seen the 60-minute special when people got ripped off.
Oh, man,
it's a real thing. So the awareness is out there. So
you ever watched it? No. Oh, it's good. You got to watch it.
So that's why having a good internet presence it's valuable. It's a necessity.
I mean, that's why we, like I was telling you, and more people that listen to our podcast are really starting to see, like, we're investing a lot into that, and I'm not investing it into marketing. It's not marketing. We're investing in is, we have somebody that full-time, works for us that does social media content. It does brand content. It's who we are, what we do. Hey, we're real people. These are real human beings, and these guys work for us, and this is what we do. You get to see who we are, what we look like. You go to our website, we have pictures of our team. Yeah. Why? Well, because
they're coming to your house.
And you know what people say? Well, what happens when they're not there? Okay, well, then we remove them and we put the next person on there. But I want to know who's coming to my house. I want to know a little bit about what that company looks like. And I think that's starting to shift a little bit. But like, before we close things out, I want to ask one question.
Okay.
And it's something that I've asked a lot of people, a lot of manufacturers, and not just in the door business. Do you feel that from a Hörman standpoint, that Hörman will always try to align themselves with their dealers and be more mindful of who they give an actual dealership to? Or do you think it's more of, hey, we want to grow and we need to sell doors, so in certain markets we're going to have to just, without being controversial, and saying, discriminating against a certain, dealer or whatever, but doing a little bit of background and saying, hey, we're going to look into this a little bit before we throw another dealer 100 miles away.
Correct. Well, you have to be licensed, bonded, and insured to get an account with Hörman. When it comes to dealers closer to the sell center, let's say within a 20, 30-mile radius of the sell center, well, we want to pick up all those. We want them to be able to come in and grab a couple of LiftMasters and Hörmans and go pop those in. But as we start to expand that circle, we have to be very diligent who we bring on. Yeah. So because when you're in, let's say, Minneapolis, where you are, there's, I don't know, 150, 200 dealers. Yeah. So it's a different type of it's a different animal. So what we typically don't have generally a protected territory. What we do have is we have protected pricing. So if you are like to say a hitter, you're going to get the pricing that the other guys aren't going to get. So it's just a volume base. Yeah. It's no different than anybody else. But you have to be.
It is different than anybody else because they don't do that.
Yeah.
And they say they do, but me being who I am, you name the manufacturer and I'll tell you if they're doing it or not, because I know enough people, and I've done it enough where, that's been an age-old thing where, he gets a better price than me.
Oh, I know.
But it doesn't happen, though. They think they are. There's a lot of hearsay.
Well, I tell you what, the garage door world is a sewing circle. I tell you. People talk, and, whatever your pricing is, they're going to know about it.
Absolutely.
We try not to hide that. We're brutally honest. We don't hide it, But out here, you're here.
Yeah.
We don't need anybody else.
Right. Yeah, that's the whole pricing thing is just more of, and anybody that's listening, that if they listen and they're a door company or a door guy, they forget that you have to get to a level. You have to move up in levels. Just because you've been with a manufacturer for 20 years, but you only generate $500,000 and you've been there for 20 years, yes, you're a loyal customer. But the problem is if you start having guys that have been there 20, 30 years to a manufacturer, but they haven't had steady growth, their expectation is that, well, you know who I am. I understand that, but I do have to be profitable. If I have 15 of you, but then I have 5 guys that are heavy hitters that they're going to commit to buying 3, 5, 10 million, why should you get the same pricing as them if they're moving volume? And our industry is stuck in this. Our industry is stuck in this. I've been doing this for 30 years.
I've always done it that way.
I've been doing this for 30 years,
That's my guy, Jack. That's the worst thing
I understand that, but it does not work business doesn't work like that anymore. And that's a huge shift that needs to happen.
Well, let me clarify something. If you've been with us 15, 20 years and you're doing $500,000 and you're a guy that just wants you and an admin and a guy in a truck, we love you to death. We are going to take care of you.
Absolutely.
We're going to be loyal to you and support you in every way, shape, and fact. We also need to you have to allow us to grow. Mm-hmm. So Hörman's been stuck in that pigeonholed in that, where we got these loyal guys, and some of them
holding you back almost because they don't.
I don't
want
to say
to
they're
grow.
holding us back, but we have to have earnest and honest conversations with them and sit down and say, hey guys, this is what's going on. We're going to have to expand. We'll keep your pricing, but we're going to go here.
But we have to.
But
we have a good team, I think, that does have those conversations in each territory.
We absolutely do now.
That's helped
100%. When I first came here, we had three sales guys. One didn't work, and now we have 8. So.
Yeah, and see, that's what the other manufacturers aren't doing, and I'm only speaking from experience, and not all of them, but the ones that we've talked to and dealt with, and not to knock them, they're all great, but they're not having those conversations. They're not going and canvassing the area well enough to really understand their particular markets and where they need to be and how they need to, because it turns into attaboys, and then when you get attaboys, and now you got 10 attaboys, and you got a big heavy hitter that he doesn't need attaboys.
No.
Like me, us. Yeah. I don't ask for attaboys. Every once in a while, are we gonna, oh man, we're gonna pickle dick,
Kendrick calls me for attaboys all the time.
But he does.
That's what I need.
But
Kendrick follows orders.
The goal is, and what I've learned from the hard truth, is discounts, deals, and attaboys don't make money and don't keep you in business. And when we start doing that, or people start doing that, it just tears the whole market apart. Oh. And then now you got everybody's at each other's throats.
Well, and also all our salesmen live they live where they work.
Yeah.
You know, some of our competitors, they have a salesman that I know of one personally. Guy lives in New York. His territory is California.
Whoa.
So how does this
that work?
compute? You know, so me coming out from the West to the East, I'm getting to meet new people. It's super exciting for me. But when I was there, I knew everybody. I can get a cup of coffee anywhere on the West Coast.
Yeah.
This is what Mitch is in Minnesota.
Midwest area.
Yeah, so he knows that market. My guy down in South Carolina, North Carolina, he knows the Carolinas.
Yeah.
You know, my guy in Tennessee, born and raised in Sparta, Tennessee.
Yeah.
He can talk the talk. So you have to know your audience. You can't just say it's not a one
size
fits all. It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work that way. And when it's tried, I've seen it fail.
Yep.
So if you have, me and Mitch had this conversation on the way over here today. I have my sales guy in New York. He can be a hard ass on his guys, but you know what? They respect him and they come back because he's honest. We will not lie to you. And if we lie to you, they will not work for me. I promise you.
Yeah, it won't work.
Because all you have is your name in this industry.
Yeah.
And if you go out and you start pitching nonsense and saying, I'll get you that door in 2 weeks, come week 12, you ain't got a customer no more.
Yeah.
So let's just be honest.
Yeah, I mean, the age-old saying, and we all still battle it, we're not perfect at it, is, you know, the under-promise and over-deliver. You know, that's an age-old, tried and true. It's harder to live by it now just because the world we live in and we can't control everything, but, you know, that's the goal. The goal is to try to, you know, tell them longer, and hopefully it comes in sooner, and you're the winner.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. We appreciate the hospitality that you showed to us, because that was great. That's why I'm geared up in the Tennessee gear, you know. We went to
College World Series.
The College World Series. We appreciate that, you know. These are the type of things that it can't always be, you know, it can be, I guess, always work, but relationships are built like this, in my opinion.
Well, like we started it out, you know, to close it out, business is not transactional. If you want to be successful in any business, in anything you do, it has to be a relationship. You have to have a network with them. It cannot just be a transaction, because if it is, it never works. And anybody successful in this world will tell you that till they're blue in the face. And if they say that you're lying or you don't know what you're talking about, they're probably not successful. And that's a fact, because, you know, that is just part of it. It's give and take, and that's how it works. And as soon as one or the other doesn't want to give a little or has to take a little, then it never works. And that's what I've seen and we've seen time and time again, in not just doing doors, but in everything we do, contracting and things. And the hopes is that changes, and things are changing, and people are going to wake up to that, you know, the transactions aren't going to, if you want to be good and you want to grow, it can't be.
If that's the case, we would just have inside sales. I'd be gone, Mitch be gone, my whole team would be gone.
You wouldn't even need them.
You know, we would just, it'd be an AI app, and, you know, good luck.
Good luck, and it's going to be
good
automated.
luck with that.
Just like people talk about, you know, we're replacing, you know, service businesses with AI. It's not going to work. Good luck. I mean, will it work for some? Yeah, absolutely it will. But it
will work if you race to the bottom.
You want to race to the bottom, and that's not what the majority of people that want to be successful and leave a legacy behind want. So.
Well, all right, gentlemen.
Yeah, I think
this.
We hit on everything we really wanted to, and it was really nice having both John and Mitch here to just kind of shed some light a little bit more.
And contribute a lot.
Huh?
Contributed a lot.
You did. You're quiet. You and Kendrick are like twins.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Midwesters.
Yeah, just nice and quiet.
We don't need to say much. Our words are impactful.
Or your looks.
I'm burnt to a crisp.
That's right.
I'm burnt.
College World Series. Everybody that doesn't go has to go.
He's on fire.
It was
Yeah.
a lot more than I expected.
Yeah, he's pretty burnt.
Hey, can you show us one of your tan lines?
Yeah,
Hold it
go
up to the
ahead.
camera.
Tan
Show the camera the tan
I had to watch on
No,
this one.
you gotta do it like this.
Oh, gang, gang, pew, pew.
Dang, dang.
This is my gun. This is my pistol. Don't mess with us.
Well, with that, we'll probably have another one here middle of the week, kind of just touching on a few of the things we talked about today. And then we'll get them back on here when we go to Sparta, Tennessee here.
Yeah, we got plans. We got
And
plans. Keep your
sometimes,
eyes open.
We'll be able to do one there. So watch out for that, and we'll see you guys next time.